My name is Liz. I am an ER vet tech. I have 2 kids, and my day starts at night. I'm with my kids all day, but my day really doesn't start until about 6 p.m. Now I'm going to get my Starbucks because honestly, I don't even think I could get through my shift without it. I'm thinking about what I'm going to see today versus what I saw yesterday, and how busy it was versus how slow it was today. I really only get through my day by getting my Starbucks. And let me tell you, as soon as I see her off in the distance, I do a mobile order and I have it ready to go. And as soon as I see her, there she is. My drug of choice is obviously a venti salted caramel cold foam cold brew. And if you're not getting extra cold foam, I don't even know who you are. I contemplate before going into work about my life choices and if this was right for me. And after 17 years, I can 100% say working with animals was the right choice. Am I always happy with what I do? Absolutely not. Would I change it? I'm getting a little old to be on the floor, but honestly, that's okay. I must show you my cup. It's a Simply Modern cup, and she has absolutely saved my life. I got one of those Starbucks ones and it broke just because my kids are kids. She's so pretty. And I know she has some water stains because honestly, running out of the house is just the way I live my life. We started making these vials. They're from vaccines and some are from other bottles. We've cleaned them and we've extracted everything off of them, and I'm going to use them in a way that I think would help soothe some owners when they have some pet loss. It was inspired by a TikTok that somebody from work sent me, and I'm so grateful that they did. And I wanted to show you what they can do. And honestly, I just really want to shed some light on how important it is. For the first time in a while, I got to leave work early, and I was really excited about that. And so here I am about to film some TikToks in my car because I could never in my house. My kids are sleeping and I don't want to wake them until tomorrow. One thing is I homeschool my kids. So right now I'm doing what's called the index card method. It was what worked for me when I was younger. We're learning to read, but I'm trying to make it into a smaller form. Sometimes I notice my child gets a little frustrated at the big picture. And what do I mean by big picture? I mean pages and pages with all words on them. So I try to, minimize that frustration. And I find that when I do the index cards, focus on one word at a time, sounds, and the way the word is formed makes so much more sense to him. And let me tell you, the hardest thing I've ever had to do as a mother is teach a child to read. It tries me every day. And then after I promised him that I would play Mario Kart with him. So here I am, kind of going through all of the emotions of just what a rainy day looks like. Couldn't go outside. My son was recovering from being sick. There's my beautiful dog. She's so wonderful. So I told him, because we can't go outside or do anything because you're still sick, we could play. And here we are enjoying lunch. It is so healthy. It's composed of chicken nuggets and french fries. And I took a video of how little boys play and act and enjoy the world, sometimes with dirty hands. I'm showing you guys footage of the food that was made, although mostly left over. We did take a nap because my youngest seemed exhausted, and of course he woke up sick. He was coughing and then just overall not acting himself. So then I had to tell my husband the wonderful news that yet another child was sick after the other one just finished. Oh, the joys. Water for the coughing. And then I succumbed to the TikTok viral Chipotle fajita quesadilla, the quesadilla. And I will say it was absolutely phenomenal. And while there's a ton of things that I saw on TikTok where people weren't getting their actual order correct, mine was phenomenal. A little late, but phenomenal. So me and my son are enjoying watching YouTube together while he finishes eating and he's just fiddling around. And then, of course, I gotta take care of the baby. So tonight I have a relief shift, and I haven't done one in a long time, but that involves me using my one day off to do laundry. And usually my husband is amazing about doing that. But when I do these relief shifts, my days turn into get it all done every day. And every day is a challenge. I homeschool the kids. Now I have a sick young one. But I still have to make sure I don't smell like dog when I go into work. I find that these days are the most challenging. Although they're few and far between, the more challenging part is trying to get everything ready and then also missing out on my kids. They really enjoy the good night time because it's few and far between, and although they love my husband, nothing compares to when mommy takes care of them. That's the rule. Mom always wins. Mom's always the winner when it comes to the love and care for the babies. And in the future, I plan on not taking as many shifts, but they're unavoidable. My paycheck for this February was like $1,000 less than it should have been. So we gotta make do. And here I am finishing up my clothes and making sure you actually clean out the lint. Do not cause a fire. Only you can prevent forest fires. And usually my kids are getting here causing chaos, but they were both eating, and honestly, they're both sick, or one's recovering from being sick, and it just didn't seem feasible. And my husband, when he was on lunch, came over and helped me switch everything over and bring half of it in, which was so awesome. And then I made my oldest some lunch, and you can see my youngest is not eating, and the dog is consoling him. Here I am on my way to what I found out, interestingly enough, was my relief shift from a very odd perspective. And it is exhausting. It's about 8 o'clock at night, and I'm just going to drive out to LA. It's over an hour drive, even with no traffic. It's still about an hour. The pay was pretty amazing, so it just seemed more worth it to just do the shift, bite the bullet. I need the money. We gotta make ends meet since my paycheck was so small. And I will say, the drive sometimes relaxes me, sometimes stresses me out, and tonight was one of the nights that I felt pretty excited for picking up the shift. I have never been on a roof shift where there weren't animals involved. So the app that I use is for vet techs that are licensed and for veterinarians. You can see me stumbling around. I was so tired. They asked me, it was a hospital that was still opening up. They were so polite. But they asked me to clean and organize as much as I could before opening. They said that they were on a soft opening. And let me tell you, this was a night for the books. The terminal for payment wasn't working, and when asked to make an estimate for a sweet golden who was having diarrhea, I said, well, how do I do that? And the veterinarian, who was the only other person on shift, minus another relief tech from the same app, I asked, how do I do that? She goes, I don't know. Then we had to figure out how to use this new entire system. Number one. Number two, I then had to go outside with the owner and try to take payment. And when I had asked the veterinarian, who was the person guiding us, because it's just me and another relief tech, she goes, well, I don't know. I allowed that owner to leave without any payment because it seemed the most appropriate in this situation. And now I realized later on that the Wi-Fi wasn't set up. It was a different Wi-Fi. But that was after hours of, or not hours, but a while of being on the phone with technical support. I'm exhausted. It's 5 a.m. at this point, and I'm honestly just sitting on the floor, just counting the minutes. I was alone in this hospital with not another person. The veterinarian was in her cubbyhole just sleeping, and I was left to my own devices in a hospital I have never been in, never met the employees, never met the admin, and they just left. I was so confused. So I tried to make a situation that was interesting into a better one. You can see here my bags have bags. I don't normally take selfies, but I was so tired. I needed to record it. And this cat cried and screamed at me all night. I will remember this meow because I heard it for 10 hours straight. She talked to me all night and kept me company. I appreciate her. And on the drive home, I started to kind of lose it. And at this point, I was contemplating, what had I gotten into? Was that worth the money? Did they actually deserve, did I scam them out of the money? I tried to make myself feel like, I don't know. I just tried so hard to make it worth their money to have paid me for this night. And I left feeling like I could have done more if I had some guidance. They asked me to stock, but they didn't have anything. They asked me to take payment without being able to use the terminal. They asked me to make estimates without knowing how to use the program. The admin went home, left me alone, and didn't give me any guidance, just good luck. And I've never been so confused in my life. And at this point, I'm just thinking about it. So I finally made a TikTok about it and made some stories about it just to get it off my mind. But I'm still left feeling confused by that night. And I formatted their label maker. I got them up and ready for the next day. And I think that in and of itself made it worth the night, hoping that the next pet that they saw was at least given the opportunity to have a more well-rounded visit, because that lady left with no RX labels on her medicine, and I was not able to email a bill. She got free services. She promised she'd come back the next day, but honestly, if I was her, there would be zero chance of that happening. She was very nice, and her dog was absolutely amazing. If you had told me in the morning that this is what my day would have consisted of, I would have been floored. I would have probably not taken the shift just because I'm a vet tech. I want to pet